in a day that might be seen as very not typical, not the exact thing you would want to see in crypto. I think with a little bit of foresight that we were able to at least see this in a way and know that it would be coming if we broke down a certain level. Once that level broke for Ethereum, it gave us a very easy insight into where I thought we were going. And now the question is can we hold this level, or does the dam start to unclog a little bit here and allow the flow to continue? So basically where we're sitting at right now, and remember, when you come in here, this is for entertainment purposes only. Mark Caston, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. We've got Jay for Mix, welcome in. Breath, welcome, or Breathe. Dennis Smith, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Joseph Euler, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Cape Cod, Kyle Kupiak, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, and also watching from out of Massachusetts. Jesse, welcome in, and thanks for being in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, along with Dan Marginau. 3 of you in the first month already. So very blessed. Clayton Howley, welcome in. Anthony Venegas, good evening, and thank you so much for being a part of this for so long. King Rebel, good evening. John Hall, welcome in. Thank you all so much. So very much. Crypto Cooter, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. You're welcome. Dan says, thank you for your insight. You betcha. IQ, welcome in, William. Such a blessing to see you this evening. Been in this community for a very long time through the ups and downs and everything in between, but we're in a good place, especially in 25. Ben B, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Shane, welcome in, and thanks for being in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. The 4th person with that first month emoji badge. That's incredible. I love it. Frisky Auto, welcome in. Everything's going great, buddy. I hope you're having a great day. It's the end of the week, first day of August. And all I can say is this summer's going extremely fast. We never know what tomorrow brings. So today, let's embrace it. Let's enjoy it together. And let's just smile because we're breathing here. And we're all amongst our friends. You never know what tomorrow brings. We can only live in the moment and prepare for an extended future, whether for ourselves, for our kids, for the next generation of our bloodline. But we're trying to start something if it's the first time in your family where we can try to extend our value. We're trying to make sure when they look back, like for me, I don't much care about for me. I don't need much. But I would like to say when I look back from the great beyond, when we're with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and with God in our final resting place or back in our kingdom, I would like to think we can look down and I'll see the next generations of speakers running around. And they're going to be so blessed beyond belief, but they're going to understand, hopefully. They won't understand the struggle, but they're going to understand where we came from and how we got to where we are and what's going to be necessary to maintain what's been built. And fortunately, they're going to have a lot of historical data because digital is going to travel. So they kind of say, how do you know if you live on beyond death? You got to do something that makes an impact that people will go back and watch, people will go back to listen to, or people will continue to tell the story of who you are. So hopefully we'll make enough impact here to where that's all of the above for us. Juan, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens along with Just Send It. 6 or 7 people in their first month in here right now. That's incredible. Swirl View, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. Welcome in from Callie Parker. Good evening to you in the afternoon, actually, because you're about 3 hours behind, so you're mid-afternoon. Rob Hokeluk, I'm glad to see that name back in the audience. Been a while since I seen your name. Says, hey, Tom, been out for a while in the hospital. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. I was hoping nothing bad was going on. I'm glad you're here, and hopefully things are getting better. I hope things are getting better. I really do. And I'm just blessed to see you in here, my friend. Really. IQ says tomorrow ain't looking too good, but I try to maintain positive feelings. We'll take a look at that. Just because we're on life support doesn't mean it's broke yet. Nobody pulled the plug yet. Ethereum's still technically over a key level. Bitcoin still hasn't fallen out to 110 yet, but it's very close. We're on that fringe point. if we don't make a move here and get some kind of volume for the weekend, which we need to get something somewhere. I mean, there should be some kind of return rally. But we'll see. If it just falls apart now, yeah, it could fall through and then 110 would be next. But right now, we're still within the area of error. It's not over yet. I mean, yeah, Ethereum's on the bottom side of where I would like it to be. There's no doubt about that. But it hasn't died yet. You know, I mean, it's worse off than it was before. But we're still technically within. But, you know, what I will continue to say is we've got levels down here that we just blew past. So, like, I don't use an indicator thing for the FVG or anything like that. I just kind of look at it by eye and say, you know, just as somebody who understands the chart, we broke down, went up, back tested here. But once we made this move up here, there was never that I mean, there was a little bit. We could even give it discernment down here, but in all reality, you can't even make a case that it's ever come back down to 3170. You know, so even with discernment, it still makes me feel like it's got to come down here. It's got to come down here. Sometimes the indicators are lagging. They are lagging indicators, but sometimes it doesn't look like it's breaking down until it does. And right now, you know, there's got to be, at some point, there's going to be a kickback here. But on a thinly traded weekend, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to use that to give a harsh rejection and just come down to the 200. Because I could very easily see Ethereum come down to 3,300 and be like, all right, let's see what we got going here, guys. But at the same time, maintain, we're still in the positive range. Yeah, we're a little bit below where I want, but like Nick said, we're within the FVG. I mean, we've held that. There's no doubt about that. It's just, if we were to come through this layer, this is where it could incite the fucking floodgates and the altcoins. You think you've seen something yet? This is where you could get that big 20% pullback if this happens, even on top of what we've already seen. Because another 8% down by Ethereum, it's not going to look good for altcoins. Let's just say Ethereum dropped 10% down to that almost 3,300. That's about, from here, 10% would be about a $350 move, and that would bring us down to about 3,150. So you're talking about a 7-8% move for Ethereum to get down there if it happened. I don't think the altcoins would fare very well. And you got to remember, yes, we have the daily golden cross that we were dealing with. But as we've been saying the last few days, it looks like the micro is panning out. And I dare say that this is almost invalidating itself now. Like, it literally, 1695 is going to be that last point of validation. And if it goes past there, you're going to get a quick drop down here to 1531 and maybe beyond. That's how quick this is going to happen if this breaks down. And it's almost come too far now to where it's... That's why I keep saying we're on life support here. I can point out a lot of metrics that make it look bullish still, but I know what I'm seeing in the micro, and that is not fancy. That's not fantastic. So I said what I said yesterday about people trying to buy yesterday. XRP's at 3.14 yesterday. Some of these other ones, like IOTA was over 20. We've had these 10, 15. The only reason I made the statement yesterday, I said, I would rather you be liquid than buy here because I knew you'd be walking into a slaughter. And my whole point yesterday was, can you sit through a 5 to 10% loss right away, or do you sell it immediately? Imagine you have $10,000 and you're down 5% in an hour. Now all of a sudden you're down like 12% today in 12 hours, 15 hours, 24 hours. You're telling me you're going to sit after you lost $1,200 by just taking a piss? That's not the right way of trading. So sometimes when it's already been, the ship's being built, you got to wait for the fail. I'm sorry, but sometimes when you've already waited so long for the ship to be built, like, it's great to buy on this big push up, but usually you run into problems when you seek that out. Like, even for XRP, I can clearly see where we never came back here, and it's ironic that it's in this area. But 250 to 260, and I hope for this matter that it doesn't go down there. There's so many people that are going to be like, uh-oh. You know? But right now, we're not done yet. That's the bottom line. We're not done yet. But if these 200-day break in the 4-hourly, it's pretty much over in the short term. Like, it's telling us every reason why to be cautious, whether we want to pay attention to all the signals or not in the micro. Even the guru came around today. Yesterday, he stayed in the position. I'm like, oh, God darn you. You're going to lose all this money. He made a great call, too. On Ethereum, he bought it at like 2,300 and built it up a little bit. And then with Bitcoin, it was about 110, 111. He rode it all the way up to 120, or he bought at 114, whatever it was on that dip. Rode it all the way up to 122, refused to sell it. And then he came back down with still like 40,000 total in the profit. So I mean, I can't complain the results. But he spends a lot of money. He's got a $900,000 account. But he pissed away like 30,000. No, it was like, I don't know, 60, 70,000 overnight. But there was no reason for it. He did the perfect analysis, and then he's like, I'll just sit through it. It's like, why? Why the hell do you do all that work and you sit through it? No, no, no. You're not in a spot position. You're in leverage, asshole. What are you talking about? But, you know, but I like the guru. I like the guru. But still, it pains me sometimes when I see them just piss the money back to the market makers. So I don't want my audience to piss it back to the audience makers, or to the market makers. That's all. Remember when I came out with the passionate plea about 2 weeks ago? Doesn't it make sense now? When I almost I didn't have a mental breakdown, but I came out so hot, people were like, oh my God, he's personally attacking me. When I said, I don't really care what you say, this is going down in a significant way. And here we are now. XRP rotated at 360 to the point where when it was in the 360 plus range, people are telling me, I'm not doing technical analysis anymore because it doesn't work for XRP. It's like, how stupid can we be? If we would have just did technical analysis at the top, we could see the double top and we could predict everything we've been. Like, you want the technical analysis. Why would you want to buy the rally? Buy the drop. Don't buy the rallies anymore. Every rally always comes with a great fall. Look what data did today. It's a perfect example. It's our gatekeeper with what it did. 70-something million in volume comes in this candle. How many people do you think? 112 million it ended up being in 2 hours. That's insane. Candle goes all the way up here to 1.7. It's a massive move for just what was going on. So people are just sitting there. Now they're buying in because they see a 17% surge, 15%. Now it's lower than where it started. And looking like that's going to be a massive bear flag and used against us if this drops down. That's going to be brutal. Brutal. This whole thing is brutal. This whole thing smells wrong. Because it's built on quicksand. And then when it came up, there was no volume to push it up. It made no sense. So I said, let's enjoy the money while we can. But once it becomes too dangerous, there's no reason to get out of the way. I feel like an asshole when I say it, but listen, like, I love that Define Group gave me my own voice in our Telegram again. In a different way, because now I can just go on here and say what I'm thinking without anybody responding. You know, and yesterday was and I put all the numbers too. But I came out a couple days ago and I literally put this, and we're way down below 15% now. You know, so this is playing out in the wrong way, just like I was fearing. And then, like, I put all the numbers for everybody so that there's no question. I don't even think a lot of people look at this page, to be honest with you. The amount of people that are liking it, I got 446 members. There's never even more than 8 or 9 people that like or dislike or whatever. So, you know, and I even said if this pattern holds, this is where you would end up buying. I said this could be the final pull down for an inverse right shoulder. And then I said the concern would be invalidating, but it hasn't happened. On a hold, this would be the time to take a shot if it doesn't pan out. But then I gave the warnings below and just said my best feeling is Bitcoin's at least going to 110. And like I even said, if you think about, I haven't bought anything during these drops. I'm not buying nothing. I'd rather sit there like in a liquid homeless man, just sitting with my change in my pocket, waiting for this to play out. Hold on, let me take the kitty out. Oh, you're fine. I love you. So sometimes, you know, this is the best thing I can say sometimes. Like I said yesterday, I would rather you be liquid, and now obviously we've dropped 10 or 15%, so obviously it's easy to say now. But I said it yesterday because I simply had the message. It's easier when you sell out, even if it goes up. If you have this crossroads like we were at, it's better to just liquidate it all if you're not a long holder, or if you don't have a plan in the short term, or even if you just don't want to be part of the drops, let's face it. And I'd rather you liquidate when you're uncertain, because you can always buy back if it turns bullish. So what, you lose a few percent, who cares? But on the drop now, let's say you had the $10,000 portfolio, just from the drop from yesterday, it's down to like $8,500. You can't get that money back until you buy back in and then hope it goes back up. That takes a 15% portfolio move now. Instead, you get out of the way, you don't know what's happening. At the very least, if you got out of the way yesterday, let's just say XP at 312. You can buy it at 296 right now. That's fine. At least you got out of the way of that. Now you're at 290. I don't encourage any buying right now until we can see if this rounds. Especially if you were getting out, unless you're looking for opportunity, like IOTA's under 18 cents. So maybe that's great opportunity. You know, just remember, we were just at like 24 cents a couple days ago. This is how fast they're moving down. We were saying it didn't feel right because Ethereum was staying around 37, 38, but the altcoins were drifting down. Even XRP looked like it was a solidified trap. To the point, just a couple days ago, I put out this update, and I literally said in it, I was very to the point. And I haven't made a lot of update videos because I've been doing multiple lives a day now. But I said XRP don't get trapped. Ethereum targets $200 drop to back test 35.40, and now we've already come back. Will altcoin be alt season be signaled? It hasn't yet. Right now we're fighting for our lives. But this is the drop we were worried about. We're in that drop. And then some. And now if this doesn't get held up, this is where it can get ugly. It can get ugly. But at the same time, it still hasn't completely fallen out. So we're at that point. So until Bitcoin loses 110, it hasn't fallen out. You know, and in real terms for Bitcoin. But with Ethereum, if it can't get over 35.58, this is a problem. That's a big problem. That's a big M. No technicals outside. No indicator in the world is going to yell at you and say, hey, I know some of this looks good, but it's not going to slap you in the face and say, look at that big topping reversal. Like, how much longer do we have to wait for the indicator to tell us? You know, some of them are already screaming at us, like in the 2 hour, the death cross is saying, hey, asshole, we've been trying to warn you for days in the alt tokens that are ahead that Ethereum is going to go down. And now being on the bottom side of this is danger. We're in some severe danger. IOTA's just taking it. We're taking it up the ass right now with IOTA. But we're not, because we kind of stepped out of the... Well, I'm not going to keep talking. You guys make your own portfolio decision. I think it's pretty clear to know what I've done and what I do. But I don't like to continuously talk about in and out and this and that. No, we're trying to find an area. And I don't know why so many people hate when we talk like this. Because this is where you find the real entries. Anybody who leaves now is costing themselves so much money, it's insane. You got to come up with a plan now. Is XRP going to hold this area? Is it going to break 289? Do we go back down to 250? Do we go worse? Is Ethereum rounding a top? Is Bitcoin putting in a head formation? You know, these are all the deadly questions that you should know the answer to if you're trying to trade this market, or at least have a good understanding of what might be coming. King Rebel, welcome back into Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. I really appreciate that. Nick Morales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army. By virtue, by being a mod, but also being a very strenuous part of this, to exhaustion at some points with all the questions you get asked in the Telegram. But I appreciate you being a mod in here and in the Telegram. I really, really do. Bob Burtner, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Nick, good evening. The Gatman, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XP Diamond Hands badge. Our 7th person with the first month badge, Michael, with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. I love it. Yes, like IQ said, God loves you because you are his creation, unique, worthy, and made in his image, with a soul meant for correction or connection, purpose, and love. Amen to that. Amen to that. Lonzo, welcome in, says, daily dose of confidence is part of my day. My day is not the same without your lives, Tom. I appreciate that. I'm glad we've been able to do 2 lives a day for the most part during summer vacation. I don't know how it's going to work when my son goes to school, but I'm going to try to keep the same model. But we'll see what happens. Joseph Euler, welcome in, says, hit the like button. It's free, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Alec Tony, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Mose here has been in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Good evening. Crypto Scrooge in here, been in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. How awesome is that? Wow. IOTX has been moving a bit. I don't know where it's at right now, how much it's corrected or kept going, but I do know it had moved up some. We've talked about IOTX a lot in the past. But you know, we'll see if it can maintain. The problem is if the whole market comes down, you'll see a similarity of kind of like what happened with XDC. And XDC hasn't fallen out completely, but remember we had that wick down. It's a little bit more extreme in the other one, but this is where we could find ourselves, you know, coming back down to the exhaustion and then just falling through if the overwhelming market doesn't support it. That's why it's dangerous sometimes when you're in a runner. We thought XDC yesterday would hold course. This morning it was holding course. But I said I didn't think it would hold on. It was going to hold on better than most. XRP, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's holding on better than most, at least in the current formation, but I would say up until now, you know, it is, but this doesn't look good. Like, I don't see anything here that, you know, I can find ways to make it look good, but in the micro, it's not feeling good. The volume portfolio alone is enough to make me feel like, uh-oh. Yep, Algo finally dropped G-stop, but now it fell out of a very bullish setup, and now it's got the potential to just fall out. Once you rotated that top, now you got the potential to fall out at least to 1961. So what's going to be cool is if you are on the sidelines, all of a sudden when you buy back, you're going to say, how do I have all this extra money? Because things are going to be 30% on sale if this plays out, 40% from where you sold. Like Nick Morales said, don't buy green days. Yes. Don't buy green days. That's absolutely 100% fact. I approve that message greatly. Now I encourage you guys, go on BITUNIX and trade. Because you can go on there, the lowest spot and leverage trading fees, and they're not paying me to say this. If I was doing the ones that paid me to say it, you would see a lot of different names on here. A lot of different names. But I just show you what I trade with and what I've had the best experience with. So with BITUNIX, like, I can step out of the way and then buy back with no difference in my portfolio. Literally. Some people have issues. I don't know how you trade, but 99% of people that have used BITUNIX, they understand what I'm saying with the fees. It's a game changer. They've also got futures. I don't encourage it. I like spot trading. Crypto.com, I like it for the Visa debit card, but I'm not talking about them. You can send a donation, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. LBank for DGB. You can also do XRP Healthcare. If you see me talk about it, that's where people will buy it from and then send it to their wallet. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. But this feels bad. This feels bad. XRP Future Thousandaire. Why would you say that? What do you think, these drops are actually not making us money? I'm confused. You know, you actually become the millionaire when you can buy the drops and not be part of them. Instead of buying at the upper levels. I'm just saying, I don't mind being a future thousandaire, but I'm already past thousandaire. I'm not a thousandaire anymore. I'm 100,000aire. And assets and everything else. So my next goal is millionaire. Unless I go backwards. I see what you're saying. So you're saying I'm going to go backwards. That's not very much confidence. How dare you, sir? How dare you, Mr. Matrix? We create our own Matrix. And I'll be god darned if we go backwards. Frankie Fresh, welcome in along with Stephen G. Thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. And yes, we'll look at Bitcoin dominance. We'll look at Bitcoin dominance, Stephen. For you. Before I even look at it, there could be an inverse head and shoulders building. No, this is not because of no rate cuts. We already knew that was happening. This is absolutely not because of that. This was already pre-predicted. This was already on the books before no rate cuts. No, what built up the fake wall was the lure that we could have rate cuts, when I've been saying we're not going to get any until at least September. Q3 end of. Yeah, you had a shot July 31st, but a very, 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 very small shot. So this is just the pattern setup. We can blame rate cuts. We can blame world, you know, the escalation of world events. We can blame tariffs. We can talk whatever the hell we want. But the bottom line is, this is the chart. So you could honestly say the chart's predicting the news, the bad news that comes based on the chart setup. We already knew we were going to get no rates based on how it looked like it was about to topple over in the 2 hour when they were talking. And the 4 hourly looked like it was out playing the daily. You know, so I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's quite the opposite. I think they target the news around when a structural drop's supposed to happen And they make it sound real good, like have Jim Cramer come out and finesse you, jerk you off a little bit and tell you to buy H-bar, Bitcoin, Ethereum. You know, have some of the Trump family come out and jerk you off, Eric Trump, a little bit for Ethereum. It rides up, and then when everybody gets on board, guess what? You're the only one doing the jerking is you while you try to pull your pants up. Oh, wait a minute, you ain't got none. So it's like, who's really jerking who off? Don't jerk yourself off for no reason. Unless you want to self-gratify, but then you have no money still. Plus, I don't recommend that anyhow, because then you lose the allure of the sexual partner. And I'm telling you, most people, and I'm going to tell you something, and this is completely off the topic of crypto. Think of this from psychologically. And if this affects you, think about it. A lot of people who can't get a hard-on with their woman, I'm being dead serious. You watch too much porn. You get caught up in the fantasy, and then you can't get an erection because you are fantasizing. I'm just saying. It's the same thing with crypto. You start getting in the gambling mindset, you hit that part of the brain where you need more stimulation, so you start the futures trade. So now we have to get larger and larger amounts of leverage, and then when you have that